Do you swing the club back a long way deliberately to try and hit the ball further? Or do you know that you swing the club back too far but you're not sure what to do about it? I'm going to show you 4 things that are causes of overswinging and what you can do about it. Hi, I'm Peter Knight. I've created this channel to help you on your golfing journey, and I'm providing videos every week for you. Now remember, if you want to get each of these videos, hit the subscribe button and also the bell icon, the grey one, and then you'll get a notification of every one of these videos, and then we can continue on your golfing journey together. So let's look at the first of 4 things that can be causing you to overswing without you even knowing about it. The first one is that as the club goes back, my left hand particularly, is actually going to come loose on the grip. When it does that, the club is likely to swing down too far. You can see my left hand is actually opened a little bit here. Now when you start your downswing, as well as having already lost control, the fingers will close and it'll tend to either change how you're holding the club, so your relationship with your grip to your club face changes. It can cause the club face to sort of start to throw, which can affect how you're striking the ball, or it could do both. Or it could also do other things as well, which are going to disrupt the swing. The first thing to do is to have an awareness of whether or not your hands are coming away from the grip. That's the first thing. The second is you might put a leaf or a tee or something like that just between the grip and your palm, and when you swing back, it drops out, then you'll know that your hand is actually open. So that's the first thing, opening the left hand knowingly or unknowingly. The second thing is also to do with the hands, is that when I swing back to the top of my swing, that's about as far as my wrists are going to hinge. They're not going to hinge much further unless I let my wrist bend this way, and all of a sudden now my club can drop back a lot further. So it's changing the orientation of my wrist. Now that, if we look from side, and we'll see that really just changes the club face a lot too. The toe of the club's going to tend to hang down more, which we call an open position. Now if I don't make any adjustment and come back to where I was, then again I'm going to have difficulty controlling the direction the club face is aiming when I'm striking the ball. To control that, when you swing the club back, have an awareness of what's happening with your hand and your wrist. Stop there, look in a reflection so you're actually checking what you're doing. Swing the club back shorter so that you don't get to the point where the wrist starts to bend. When you're doing that, particularly if you're doing it slowly, you might notice that as the club goes back, it's quite early in the swing that the wrist starts to bend. So just make a note of that so that you actually know whether or not this wrist is staying pretty much in line with your forearm. Doesn't matter if it bends a little bit, that's fine. Virtually every player does. It's when we get the excessive bending that the club will tend to drop, and then again we're going to have difficulty controlling it. The third thing is that when the club goes back, the arms actually fold too much. So particularly your lead arm, your left arm for a right-handed golfer. So as the club goes back, both arms tend to fold a lot. That happens quite often. Often it's to do with lack of flexibility through the spine, and so a golfer's trying to get the club to go back further by allowing both arms to bend. If you see that you're doing that, first thing is to be aware that maybe you can't swing the club back as far as a younger, more flexible person, or a more flexible person. Forget the younger bit. Who am I to be talking about that? So as the club goes back, the fix for that, or the cure to help you, is to say, well, I'm only going to swing the club back as far as I can before my arms start to fold. A thought that you can have is that at address, my arms are whatever distance they are away from my chest, from my sternum. My thought is that as I go back, my hands are not going to come closer to my chest or closer to my right shoulder. They feel like they're going to stay the same distance all the way back to the top of the swing. So that's the third thing. The fourth one is actually just rotating your body too far. Usually only occurs that you rotate your upper body too far when your lower body turns too much. So if I allow my lower body to, say, turn about 40 or 45 degrees, that's the maximum shoulder turn I'm going to get. It'll go a little bit further with momentum and the weight of my arms and the club moving. It's sort of like almost like a bit of an elastic response, but I can't swing the club back too far. If I now allow my hips to turn, let's say 70 degrees or more, then all of a sudden, you know, from this view here, you can see my back, which is way too much for me to be able to control. The other thing is I'm not likely to get the elastic energy from my torso turning more than my hips through here. Even though it feels like I've got a much bigger turn, I can hit the ball harder, I'll tend to lose control, and I've got to use some energy to get from here just back to here where I can swing the club down. So it's going to upset my rhythm a little bit. So there's 4 things when you're swinging the club that can be causes of overswinging, knowingly or unknowingly. If you do swing the club back too far, have a check of those things just to see if any of them apply to you. If it's something different, let me know. Put it in the comments below. And it could be something that we haven't talked about, and maybe I'll need to address that in another video. Remember to put your comments below, share this video if you think there are friends of yours who are going to benefit from the information in the video, and I'll look forward to seeing you again on the next one.